Standard 10th, Economics, Chapter 2, Globalization and Trade. Introduction. Liberalization, privatization, and globalization have become a much talked of subjects among politicians, economists, and businessmen in modern days. Globalization. Globalization is the integration of a country with the world economy. Globalization signifies a process of internalization plus liberalization. History of globalization. The term globalization was introduced by Professor Theodore Levitt. The history background of globalization can be discussed on three stages. History of globalization, stage 1 archaic globalization, stage 2 proto globalization, stage 3 modern globalization. Archaic globalization. Andre Gunder Frank argued that a form of globalization has been in existence since the rise of trade links between Sumer and Indus Valley civilization. An early form of globalized economics known as archaic globalization. It existed during the Hellenistic age. The trade link between the Roman Empire, Parthian Empire, and Han dynasty made the commercial links between these powers inspired the development of the Silk Road. The advent of Mongol Empire, though destabilizing to the commercial centers of Middle East and China, traveled along the Silk Road. Pre-modern phase of global exchange are sometimes known as archaic globalization, proto-globalization. It was characterized by the rise of maritime European empires in the 16th and 17th centuries. First, the Portuguese Empire, the Spanish Empire, the Dutch Empire, and the British Empire. Globalization became private business. The British East India Company, founded in 1600, described as the first multinational company, and the first Dutch East India Company, founded in 1602, were established. Modern globalization. In the 19th and in the 20th century, there were significant differences. The two main points, one is the global trade in its centuries, as well as the capital, investment, and the economy. The global trade, the 20th century, shows a higher share of trade in merchant production, growth of trade in services, and the rise of production and trade by multinational firms. Trade and traders in South India. Historical perspective. Southern Indian trade guilds were formed by merchants in order to organize and expand their trading activities. Trade guilds become channels through which Indian culture was exported to other lands. Early traders, the Kalinga traders, modern Odisha, brought red-colored stone, decorative objects for trade, and also cotton textiles to Southeast Asia. European traders, The trading activities of various European companies which came to India during this period. A new all-sea route from Europe to India via Cape of Good Hope by Vasco da Gama. The Portuguese. The Portuguese, under the leadership of Vasco da Gama, landed at Calicut on May 1498. Profits of goods brought by Vasco da Gama to Portugal were to 60 times cost of the entire expedition to India. The second trip of Vasco da Gama in 1502 led to the establishment of trading station at Calicut, Cochin and Kannanur. The Dutch. Dutch undertook several voyages from 1596 and formed the Dutch East India Company (VOC) in 1602. In 1605, Admiral van der Hagen established Dutch factory at Masulipatinam and Petapoli, Devanampattinam. The king of Chandragiri found another factory at Pulicat. The commodities exported by the Dutch were indigo and Bengal raw silk. Pulicat was the headquarters of the Dutch in India. The British. On 31st December 1600, Queen Elizabeth granted charter to East India Company. The English established at Masulipatinam in 1611 and near Pulicat in 1626. The Sultan Golconda granted the English the Golden Fireman. They were allowed to trade freely in kingdom ports. In 1639, he built a fortified factory in Madras which known as Fort St. George, which soon displaced Masulipatinam as headquarters of the English settlement on the Coromandel coast. The Danes. The Danes formed an East India Company and arrived in India in 1616. The Danish settlements were established at Tranquebar in Tamil Nadu in 1620, which was the headquarters of Danes in India. They failed to strengthen themselves and were forced to sell all their Indian settlements to the British. The French. The first French factory in India was established in 1668 by obtaining permission from the Sultan of Golconda. In 1693, the Dutch captured Pondicherry. In 1701, Pondicherry was the headquarters of the French. Globalization in India. In India, the period after 1980 and 81 was marked by severe balance of payment difficulties, mainly due to hike in oil price and Gulf War. When the new government took over in June 1991, India had unprecedented balance of payment crisis. Since India lost its credit worthiness in the international market, the government mortgaged 40 tons of gold to the Bank of England. Under these circumstances, the government for 1991 to 1992 presented its budget in July 1991 with a series of policy changes which underlined globalization, liberalization and privatization. This has come to be called as India's new economic policy. These policies were strengthened when India signed the Dunkeld Draft in 1994. It included the first complete text on agriculture, in which quantitative proposals were presented with respect to concessions in each of the three major disciplines. Reforms made to adopt globalization. Abolition of industrial licensing. reduction in the number of industries reserved for public sector, fixation of a realistic exchange rate of rupee to exchange exports of Indian goods, foreign private sector by making rupee convertible on trade on current account and by reducing import duties. Foreign exchanges regulations were suitably amended. Multinational corporations. Multinational corporation is a corporate organization which owns or controls production of goods or services in at least one country other than its home country. Evolution of MNC. The East India Company, which came to India as a trading company and then its net throughout the country to become politically dominant or control raw materials in the host countries during 1920s. Most of the MNCs at present belong to four major exporting countries. They are United States of America, United Kingdom, France and Germany. Multinational companies in India. A common form of MNC participation in Indian industry is through entering into cooperation with Indian industrialists. Trends of liberalization in 1980s gave a substantial spurt to foreign collaborations. As a result of liberalized foreign investment, FIP announced in July-August 1991 there has a further spurt of foreign collaborations and increased flow of foreign direct investment. Reasons for the growth of MNCs. Expansion of market territory. Large-sized firm expand. More and more extension of its activities beyond the physical boundaries of the country. Marketing superiorities. A multinational firm enjoys a number of marketing superiorities over the national firms. It faces less difficulty in selling its product and it adopts more effective advertising and sales promotion techniques. Financial superiority. It has financial resources and high levels of funds utilization, easier access of external capital markets. Technological superiorities. The underdeveloped countries to participate in their industrial development is on account of the technological superiorities which these firms possess as compared to national companies. Product innovation. MNC have research and development engaged in the task of developing new products and superior designs of existing product. Advantages of MNC and disadvantages of MNC. Producing same quality of goods at lower cost. MNC reduce prices and increase the purchasing power of consumers. MNC is able to take advantage of tax variation, spurring job growth in local economies. Disadvantages. They are a way of corporations to develop a monopoly. They are also a detrimental effect on the environment. The introduction of MNC into a host country's economy may also lead to downfall of smaller and local businesses. MNC breach ethical standards, accusing them of evading ethical laws and leveraging their business agenda with capital. Fair trade practices and World Trade Organization. What is fair trade? Fair trade is a way of doing business. It aims to keep small farmers an active part of the world marketplace. It aims to empower consumers to make purchases that support their values. Raising and stabilizing the income of small-scale farmers, farm workers and artisans. More equitability, distributing the economic gains, opportunities and risk associated with the production and sale of these goods. Increasing the organizational and commercial capacities of producer groups. Promoting labor rights and the right workers to organize. Promoting safe and sustainable farming methods and working conditions. Fair trade practices and payment of a fair price. Ensuring no child labor and forced labor. Non-discrimination, gender equity and freedom of association. Providing capacity building and promoting fair building. Respect for the environment. GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. GATT was signed by 23 countries in 1947. India was one of the founder members of GATT. The Director General of GATT, Arthur Dunkel, came up with a draft final act known as Dunkel Draft, was approved and signed. GATT's primary purpose was to increase international trade by reducing various tariffs, quotas and subsidies while maintaining meaningful regulations. World Trade Organization. The signing of the final act of Uruguay round by member nations at GATT in April 1994 paved the way for setting up of the World Trade Organization. It was signed by 104 members. The World Trade Organization agreement came into force from January 1, 1995. Objectives of World Trade Organization: to set and enforce rules for international trade, to provide a forum for negotiating and monitoring trade liberalization, to resolve trade disputes, introduction at the sustainable development and environment can go together, to ensure the developing countries secure a better share of growth in world trade, to resolve trade disputes, to increase the transparency of decision-making processes, to ensure full employment and broad increase in effective demand. Trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights may be defined as information with a commercial value. Under TRIPS, patent shall be available for any invention, whether product or process in all fields of industrial technologies. TRIPS agreement covers 7 areas of intellectual property rights. Impact and challenges of globalization. Trade increased, competitions, economies of scale, increased capital and labor movement, tax avoidance, structural unemployment, monopoly power of multinationals. Positive effects. Better economy introduces rapid development. Standard of living has increased. Better trade. more people are employed, introducing new technologies and new scientific research patterns. Globalization increasing the GDP of the country. It increase free flow of goods and also to increase foreign direct investment. Negative impacts. Too much flow of capital introduces unfair and immoral distributors of income. Another fear is losing national integrity. Rapid growth of the economy has required a major infrastructure and resource extraction. Rapid increases in exploitation of natural resources to earn foreign exchange. Environmental standards and regulations have been relaxed. Challenges of globalization. The benefits of globalization extend to all countries. That will not happen automatically. Globalization leads to instability. The industrial world increased global competition will lead in race to the bottom in wages, labor right and employment practice. It leads to global imbalance. Globalization has led to an increase in activities such as child labor and slavery. People started consuming more junk food. This caused the degradation of health and spread of disease. Globalization also had led to environmental degradation. With this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you.